it's plain to see. A, B, that's my address and it's been replicated and no one's got in touch with me.
Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Sprechen Sie High Fashion? Oh, hello. Sprechen Sie High Fashion? Oh, hello.
Hi, welcome to Where's the Fashion? This is Pally Castle and the first episode is about copying. Copying. There are big differences between the wholesale copying and selling of a fake handbag that you might find in Oxford Street or Camden that's clearly there for people to access brands like Louis Vuitton, Chanel and Calvin Klein. Then there's the other side of copying, which involves a certain homage to another brand, and you tend to see a garment and think, oh, that reminds me of something I've already seen. One of the reasons it's so hard to copyright fashion is that there's very little room for ownership on a specific print or style. The fashion industry loves to debate who invented this, who popularised that, and who owns an idea. Very little can be done, whether social media is used to call out a designer or whether the very costly legal action is taken. In this episode, I'll be speaking to a select number of designers who've experienced copying, how the legal landscape stands for someone affected by copying. Those little tree earrings with the Dior on them, and then they showed up in Balenciaga 11 months later. I want to know sort of what kind of protection or what do you do in that situation to help students, considering it's a student project?
Yeah, we have contracts with some fashion agencies, so we have IP, and we pay for IP, so it's supposed to be highly protected, regarding students' work. So as soon as we are using something coming from the school or something coming from the students, everything is managed between us, So yeah, I think it's quite well managed.
Thank you. Where's the Fashion?
One thing I want to ask you is about, working in an open space like this. Does it happen where you see similar things, or over the years that you see things being repeated? How do you sort of protect that or stop that from happening?
By, at least from our side as the course team, it's about opening the dialogue on that, making sure that it doesn't become so referential. At the same time, that's the way it is. It's a very confined space. Everybody works together, and of course, there's a moment where it bleeds into each other. But why not? Why would we need always to be so? Or pretend to be always so original in a moment in time where actually originality is probably the most absurd and the most pretentious thing to claim.
Do you think that there's a lot of authenticity, or did you see things that have been there from before? Any copying?
I've seen a couple of things that I was like, I know where you interned.
As you can see, in one fashion show alone, elements of originality can be challenged. The lines between originality and actual copying still seem very, very blurred. I decided to speak to the head of CSM, Jeremy Till, about the issue and see how important it is to be original.
Particularly in fashion, that originality is actually quite a fragile concept because of what I said before. You're always working in a kind of stream of the history of design. It's very rare that somebody, that you do get some bits where you just get bloody hell, like Edwin Mahoney's work. Just, I have never seen work like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is astounding work.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it comes from, and I thought, when I saw that, it was a kind of emblematic CSM piece, I thought, because it could have come from fine art, could have come from anywhere. No, I think if there is an absolute, clear copying, is your word, going on, then that should be challenged. I completely agree with that.
So having spoken to Jeremy Till, I decided to go up to the fashion studios at Central St Martin's, where first-year fashion students were getting ready for their annual white show, in which each design student from each pathway is required to make one white garment to be shown to industry for the very first time.
Who's
Many of my friends have gone through that, yeah, certainly. Like,
So friends have told you that.
yeah, because he was the first one, not the first one, but the first student to bring huge kind of aesthetic hats in the White Show. So now everybody's doing hats, but it's not directly in relation to Harris Reed. They're all in different kind of concepts. As soon as he brings one in, like, people start like relating it back to him. But I don't think that should be the kind of.
Do you think people have shown him your work?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But like obviously, like you gotta like check yourself and be like, oh, am I like copying someone, or like, you know, am I like using this in like my own way, and like not just like, you know, just like taking this thing and like copying. If it's only for flattery if you're paying me, you know what I mean? This is like our art, and fashion is more than just like like clothing, you know. It is like intellectual property. It's not just like protective.
It's a form of your identity as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, kids can end up cut and pasting quotes or chunks of text into papers and forgetting to appropriately cite it, I think, or cite the source. I believe that, you know, there's a lot of kind of unconscious appropriation that happens because you don't remember where you see a print or you see a style, and it's sort of stuck in the back of your head somewhere, and then, you know, maybe you're designing something for a company and out it comes. And I think it is very hard to have every single one of those products be a piece of genius originality.
One thing I would encourage designers to be careful about is, particularly emerging designers, is be careful about some contests and be careful about showing your portfolio. And if there is kind of there are some brands, and I know this because I've had, unfortunately, a number of young designers come to me over the years. There can be false accusation, but yeah, there can be some overzealousness in terms of call-out culture.
We're here in East London to interview fashion designer Ben Mack, who graduated from London College of Fashion and whose work was recently copied. Let's go and find out what happened.
I think I was in shock at first because it was so similar, the dress that had been copied, and obviously it was for a TV show, RuPaul's Drag Race. So I'm Ben Mack, been in London 3 years, studied at University of Arts London doing swimwear technology. Exhibit A is this little beauty here. So I made it 2 years ago, and it was I was on my break from placement year. It was for submission in uni. Teachers didn't really like it. They were just like, it's impractical, who's going to wear it? But then it got used, it got pulled for Dazed, it got pulled for Now as magazine. And then yeah, so it just got left for a while. And then about 3 weeks ago, my inbox just was going berserk, and I was like, oh, what's this? And then everyone was like, oh my God, your dress has been ripped off in America. It's like, it's been ripped off in America. So I didn't know nothing about it, but everyone else did. And then everyone sort of kept up the momentum of saying, this is Ben Mack's dress, you've copied, blah, blah, blah. It's plain to see, A, B, that's my dress and it's been replicated and no one's got in touch with me. I made a post with the two dresses up saying, oh, this is mine from 2 years ago and this is what's being recreated in America. And then the designer got in touch and apologised, which was quite nice, saying that he knew nothing about it and he just got given sketches and stuff to do. So I was like, okay, and then they did ask me to remove the post, but I didn't see why I should. I managed to get hold of the drag queen who wore the dress, and she was just like, I'm so sorry, I can see why you'd be frustrated. So I just left it still, because I thought I'm not going to get into any war over this. I just need to like go with the flow and see how it's going to pan out. Now, Joy Prada's gone more on the sort of naming and shaming rather than revealing things that could help the actual people who were suffering from this. So new designers or young creatives who were getting ripped off by bigger firms, rather than highlighting them, they're just looking at knocking all the big people off. It's like you never really see them now mentioning anyone who's unknown. It's all, oh, Dior's copying off Lee Saint Laurent or like X, Y, and Z. But I just think like, if it is going to be the same and it's genuine, I think that's magic. But because social media shows you and gives you everything, there's no room for magic anymore. It's just associated with copying.